when you're focused on food, the first criteria always has to be, is it delicious? Unless you have a very specific concept you're working on where, deliciousness isn't paramount, but that almost never comes up. Food should be delicious. And so this is kind of the first goal you're working on. But when I approach a food problem, I approach it almost in exactly the same way that I, would have approached an art problem. And that is, first of all, start with something, a premise. I mean, the hardest thing to do with anything is to start, whether it's, figuring out what I was going to build when I was doing sculpture or performance, or, what am I going to put on a plate? Once you start, right, then the idea is to always be critical about the decisions you're making, always be 100% critical all of the time. And if you can do that, and if you have the focus to be able to, constantly strive to make yourself better, remember the mistakes you've made in the past, then you can start working towards making a better product or making something that satisfies you more. I think, what's interesting about cooking versus making sculpture is that, to me, it satisfies a lot of the same energies. The energies, the ideas to make something new, to make something better, to constantly be working. I think that's kind of the commonality is to constantly strive to learn, to change, and to work constantly. And if you have that when you are doing art, then you're good, because you're constantly working and changing, hopefully getting better or making new things that make you continually satisfied on a continuous basis. And the same thing happens when you cook, at least if you cook the way that I cook, which is to always investigate new avenues, new channels for the dining experience. So that's kind of what motivates me. For me, it wasn't much of a change to go from sculpture to food, although it can seem kind of like a big change from the outside.